morning. Welcome to Village in Motion. Today is a snowy Thursday, November 15th, 2018, and we're here in a nice, warm, not snowy studio with two visitors to our studio, Emma Slattery and, let me get this right, Kate Regan, who are dietetic interns here at Green Spring. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're here working as interns for 2 weeks, is that correct?
Yes.
Let's start with Emma. You're a student at Virginia Tech.
Yes, I'm a dietetic intern at Virginia Tech, so I'm in my last steps of training to become a dietitian. And I'll also be back for a couple weeks in the spring, so people can see me around in all the dining halls.
So you're on an internship here. Is
Yes.
this the only internship that you do, or do you do other types of internships?
We float around, so the internship lasts for about a year, and we go to different sites. So Kate and I have also been working in hospitals in an acute care setting, and we'll also do some community rotations with different programs throughout the community.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kate, welcome.
Thank you.
And you're also in your last year.
Yes.
And tell us some of the other places you've been.
So in my acute care setting, I was at Inova Fairfax Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some of my community rotations, I will be shadowing Nancy Chapman, who works with a lot of nutrition policy with the government. And then I will also be at a WIC clinic, which is Women, Infants, and Children.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So from all of these different internships, then from there you can say, okay, what kind of dietitian work is the kind that I would most like to do?
Yes, exactly. It'll definitely help us narrow it down because there's a lot of options.
Now when you graduate, you will have bachelor's degrees in what?
So we actually already do have bachelor's degrees. We completed our undergrad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We completed our undergrad in dietetics.
Okay.
And so this is the next step. It's required of all students in order to get your registered dietitian credentials.
So this is a credential on top of a bachelor's degree, and you will
Yes.
both be registered dietitians.
Yes.
A question, what is the difference between a dietitian and someone who calls themselves a nutritionist?
Yes, so anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. It's not a title that's regulated by any agency, but a registered dietitian has a bachelor's degree in nutrition from a university program that's accredited, so they have to go through different steps and make sure that the curriculum is what it's supposed to be. And then what we're doing now, they need 1,200 hours of supervised practice in the field. And then pass an exam, which we will both be taking sometime this summer.
So a lot more education
Yes.
comes behind it.
Oh, yes.
Excellent. So you're here today to educate us about fiber in our diet.
Yes.
Something that I think a lot of us don't get enough of. Talk to us about fiber. And I think that, Emma, you're going to start.
Yes, so fiber is a carbohydrate, but it doesn't provide any energy or calories. Your body can't really break it down. So carbohydrates are found in grains, fruits, vegetables, beans, legumes, and they're what your body uses for energy.
We need carbohydrates.
You need carbohydrates. You need them to walk, to run, to breathe, to think. They fuel your body. But fiber is a carbohydrate that doesn't provide that energy. Instead, it provides bulk. It's also called roughage. And it helps to work your gastrointestinal system, your GI tract, because your body struggles to break it down. So I think about it like a workout for your GI tract.
Right.
Like when you struggle to pick something up, you're working out your muscles. So when you struggle to break down a nutrient, it works out your GI tract. Yeah.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. And it also helps the different microorganisms in your GI tract. So everyone's GI tract is home to a lot of different microorganisms that help us break down food. They help us digest things.
A lot of things going on in our GI tract.
It is. It's very
Yes.
complex. So fiber is food for them, and it helps them grow, be strong, so that they can break down other foods that pass along there as well.
Now, I don't want to get too far off the beaten track here, but we hear lots of things about, well, eat a low-carb diet. That would be healthy. There are diets that restrict carbohydrates, And that's really not healthy for us because our GI tracts need to have that carbohydrate to keep our GI tract working.
Yes, we need, so the 2 types of carbs, there's one for energy, and you definitely need that because your brain can only use carbohydrates for energy. So when you restrict carbohydrates, it can lead to a lot of mental fatigue, mental fog, which isn't something that people want. And then fiber is the other carbohydrate, and your GI tract, again, needs that to keep everything moving and keep your bowels regular.
Okay, so let's go on.
Okay, so now that we know what fiber is, I'm going to talk a little bit about why it's important in our diets. So it actually has a lot of health benefits for us. First and foremost, Emma mentioned that it promotes bowel regularity. And as we get older, our GI tract kind of slows down a little bit. So a lot of older adults struggle with things like constipation. And what fiber does is that it adds to the bulk in your stomach so that it kind of makes your bowels regular and kind of, works your GI tract.
Keeps things moving.
Keeps things moving, yes, exactly. So that's a really great benefit of it.
Yes.
Another one is that it promotes a healthy weight. So since fiber is adding to the bulk of your stomach, it increases the satiety with every meal. So it keeps you fuller for longer, so you don't overeat. So, it satisfies you and you're getting all the nutrients you need, but you're not overeating and leading to weight gain.
And that's a hard thing to kind of balance. We're thinking, because carbohydrates sometimes are the foods that taste good, and we think, oh, I feel really, really full, and maybe I shouldn't be eating these kinds of foods. But you're saying that if we eat the right kinds of carbohydrates, and with the underline there on the right kinds, that they will help us feel full, and that maybe we then will want to stop eating and we'll feel full and we will control our weight.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
And we're going to talk a little bit about what foods exactly are the good carbohydrates and where, the ones that are higher in fiber that we want to look out for.
That's the advice we need.
Yes, so we will get to that. And then a couple other health benefits that I wanted to mention. One is that it helps manage blood sugars. So for those of us that are diabetics, it helps to kind of slow the absorption of the sugars and leads to stable sugars. So that's a really
And that's
great
really
benefit.
important for diabetics, because diabetics are told to count the number of carbohydrates that you have in a day's time.
Exactly.
So it's really important for that population.
Yes. So if you're eating those carbohydrates that are high in fiber, it has the added benefit of helping to manage your blood sugars,
Right.
which is really important. And then the last benefit that I wanted to mention is that it helps to promote heart health. So what fiber does is that it kind of attaches to the cholesterol particles and the bad fats and helps to excrete them before they're absorbed into our systems. So that helps to lower cholesterol, it helps to lower blood pressure and inflammation, so leading to heart health overall.
So we want to get that fiber into our systems.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. And what's next?
Great. Well, next we're going to talk about where to find fiber.
Okay.
So here we have all sorts of great examples of different types of foods with fiber. So we have black beans, we have chickpeas, legumes are full of fiber, and a lot of examples of whole grains. So just to take a moment on what a whole grain is versus maybe a refined grain or an enriched grain. I like to think about grains like an egg, because most people know what an egg is, but they may not know what a grain is. So when you refine a grain, you basically take off the shell, and the shell is where all the fiber is. It's called the bran of the grain. And so even in an enriched grain, they add back a whole lot of vitamins and minerals, but there's no way of adding back that fiber that you lose when you take off the bran.
For our population here, I would remind everyone of Wonder Bread. And that many years ago when Wonder Bread came out, it's beautiful white bread, and everybody thought that white bread was the best bread. And Wonder Bread was advertised as adding back in all of the vitamins and minerals that were taken out when all of the bran and all of that was removed. But what it didn't add back in was the bran and the fiber that had been taken off in order for that bread to become white. So we kind of don't look at white bread as being good for us anymore.
No.
we look at that whole grain bread that does have that valuable fiber on it.
Right. And yeah, Wonder Bread, white pastas, white rice, those all take the fiber out of it. And while it's really great that the vitamins and minerals are added back, because those are also very important for our health, they lose the fiber.
If something is just colored brown, does that make it all right? Does that tell you that it's good for you?
No. So it's important to look at the label to see the amount of fiber that it has. So if you look at the label, you can see that over on the side in the classification of total carbohydrate, you can go down one and see dietary fiber. And so this shredded wheat has 8 grams of dietary fiber. And when you look over, you can see what percent of your daily value that is. So that's 32% in one serving of shredded wheat, which is very helpful. So that way you can make sure that it actually has fiber and isn't just colored brown.
But do be sure and look and see what the serving size is.
Yes, that's important as well, because in order to get those 8 grams, you need to have 1 1/4 cups, which is quite a bit of cereal.
That's quite a bit of cereal, shredded wheat, yes.
Yes.
Now, one thing that I noticed about all of these foods that you've put out here is that there's nothing here that's going to cackle or moo. So you're telling us that fiber is only going to be found in plants.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in plant sources. So a lot of these are your grains, but also fruits and vegetables have fiber as well.
Okay. So you've got some garbanzo beans and some black beans.
Yes.
And lots of good fruits here.
Yes, like apples, and apple sauce also has fiber. It's important to note that juices don't have fiber, but smoothies do. So when you juice a fruit, you extract all the pulp, and the pulp is where the fiber is. But when you blend up fruit in a smoothie, then you get to keep all the fiber, which is really good for you. So smoothies are
when I buy orange juice, I always buy the pulp-free orange juice, which is probably the worst that I could buy. If I bought the orange juice with pulp in it, it would have much more fiber.
It would have much more fiber,
yes,
but
I'm not very healthy.
It's also a texture preference.
Yes.
I don't find the pulp too appealing
yes,
sometimes.
right, right.
And another thing to note is the difference between soluble fiber and insoluble fiber.
That's
which
really important.
are 2 different kinds that you can get in your diet through these foods that all have fiber.
And what's the difference? What do the 2 different types do for us?
So soluble fiber, to be soluble, it means that they dissolve in water. Like if you put sugar in iced tea, it dissolves in the water. So soluble fiber binds water to it. And when it binds water, it also binds things like Kate said, like cholesterol and some sugars, and it helps lower your cholesterol. It can manage your blood sugars. But it's important to keep drinking water when you increase your fiber intake, because soluble fiber does take some water out with it.
And soluble fibers, I understand, it slows down your digestion.
Yes.
And that's a good thing, especially for diabetics, because this slows the digestion, helps things stay in your body longer, and therefore helps keep your blood sugar level lower.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so things with soluble fiber, I've written here that oats and oatmeal, legumes, different fruits and vegetables.
What's a legume? Give me an example.
It's a bean.
It's a bean.
So it's like your chickpeas, your garbanzo beans. A really fun fact is that peanuts are a legume.
Oh, good. I like peanuts.
And then the insoluble fiber is more of the bulk and the roughage that doesn't dissolve in the water. So those are good for your digestive system, in particular your colon, your small intestine, because since they're still solid, they help everything move along.
So those are the foods that we eat, and that includes like the greens, also lettuce and things that go in salads.
Yes.
So those are kinds of foods that I look at those as kind of, I'm kind of in a way wasting my money on them, because they don't really slow down in my system.
No.
They just kind of help move other things along.
Yes.
Okay, but they're important for that purpose.
But they're important, yeah. You want to keep everything moving along.
Yeah. That's the idea. I'm sitting here thinking, my grandmother would never have talked about things like this, but it's so good to talk about it because it's a a challenge that we all have.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have something, we're going to cook something here, I think.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Is it time to talk about that? Am I at the right point in the script?
It is.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So we are going to make something called a prune whip.
Okay.
Which is a super simple recipe. All of the ingredients are found in the convenience stores here at Green Spring, which is great. 3 simple ingredients: applesauce,
Okay.
prune juice, and shredded wheat.
Okay.
And there are a lot of substitutions you can make for these things, if based on taste preferences. So for the shredded wheat, you can substitute it for oats if you prefer oats.
Oats, like even oats that we would normally cook,
Yes.
but we wouldn't have to cook them
You
in
don't
this
have
case.
to cook it, no.
Okay.
Yep, so that's why it's so easy. Prune juice, if you're not a huge fan of prune juice, you could substitute cranberry juice or any one of your favorite juices.
Okay.
And then applesauce, we do want to note that it would be preferred to have unsweetened applesauce, especially for diabetics, but it's okay if you like the sweetened as well.
Okay.
But yeah, all of these ingredients are found in the convenience stores here. So super easy to make ahead. It's recommended that you have 1 to 2 tablespoons a day to help promote bowel regularity
Okay.
and prevent constipation. So yeah, we can
So let's
get that going.
mix some up.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So first we're gonna do 1 cup of applesauce.
We have some applesauce here. Oh, it's spilling out a little bit.
We don't want to spill it on the table.
We don't want to spill applesauce on the table.
And like I said, it is preferred to do unsweetened applesauce, which we have a shot of right there.
Yes, here's the unsweetened applesauce
Okay.
as we're filling our measuring cup.
So we are going to
Okay, we
use
add
this
our
mixing bowl
applesauce.
right here. Step 1, 1 cup of applesauce. And if you're just making this for one person, you can reduce the portions. You can cut the recipe down by half. You can just do half a cup of each ingredient if that's easier, just so you don't waste any food. And now we're going to do a cup of prune juice.
If it's just one person living alone, it may not last forever. So
Exactly.
You might want to make a half a recipe.
It would make more sense to reduce
Right.
the portions.
So we're adding a cup of prune juice,
Cup of prune juice.
which is really good when it's ice cold.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is easy to make ahead, and you can just store it in your refrigerator. Okay.
Cup of prune juice.
And then the last step is to add 1 cup of shredded wheat, which we have
Or
here.
that could be bran cereal or oats.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Any high fiber cereal that you prefer.
Okay.
Okay, we're just gonna mix that up.
And if you used oats, you might want to let it sit for a while before you eat it, so
Yes.
that the oats could soften.
Right. So it's a taste preference thing. You can eat it right away if that's what you prefer, or you can store it in the refrigerator, let it sit a little, soften up.
And probably would taste good when it's really cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like. Super high in fiber. You can see all that good stuff.
May I taste it?
Absolutely.
Last time we fixed something here, I got in trouble for not tasting it quickly
no.
enough on the screen.
Here you go.
Good.
And we'll try some as well.
Yes.
Good.
Okay. Do you have a spoon?
I do have a spoon.
Okay.
It's really good.
Yeah?
Very yummy.
It is.
Very
The
sweet.
combination of prune juice and applesauce is really good.
Yes.
I think you invented
very
something new.
yummy.
You found a good recipe.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
So as I said, it's recommended that you have about 1 to 2 tablespoons a day, just to promote regularity, keep everything moving. Super high in fiber if you don't get a lot in your diet as it is.
How much fiber should I have in a day's time?
So recommendations currently are about 25 grams for women and a little bit higher for men, about 38.
Okay.
Yes, but yeah, it's as we showed you all of these options. Super easy to get all your fiber in a day as long as you're keeping up with your fresh fruits and vegetables and whole grains. Yeah.
So how about in our dining rooms? Is it difficult to find fiber on our menus?
Not at all. And that's
Okay.
actually one thing I wanted to mention.
Okay.
For the menu tonight for dinner, I just wanted to point out a couple high fiber options
Okay.
that they're offering.
What's on our menu today?
So for fireside dining room, they have a black bean burger, and one burger is going to provide 35% of your daily fiber needs, which is amazing.
That's an easy fix.
Very easy. Another thing they're offering is a vegetarian stuffed pepper, which is super yummy. In the Jefferson dining room, they have a navy bean soup, which we mentioned legumes are super high in fiber,
Yeah,
so that's
beans are always good.
yes, perfect for a snowy day as well, that
Yes,
navy bean soup.
right.
And then they're also offering a shrimp stir fry with vegetables.
Okay.
Which sounds delicious. In Woodland Skies, they have a gnocchi with vegetables and brown butter.
Okay.
And then also you can do that with a side of lima beans, sweet potato.
Lima beans are a great source of fiber.
Absolutely, yep. And then in the Potomac Cafe, another great chili day option is the chili,
Yes.
chili con carne. And then in the salad bar, they have
And
a lot
they
of
also have a great black bean burger.
absolutely, yeah.
That's
The black
always
bean
on the
burger
menu.
can be found at a few of the dining
Yes.
places. Yes. And then the salad bar also has a lot of great options, as we said, those fresh fruits and
Yes,
vegetables.
they have a wonderful salad bar there.
And garbanzo beans, sunflower seeds, anything like that. Anything
Yeah.
that's plant-based is going to
Yes.
have a lot of fiber.
Yes.
Going to have a lot of bang for your
Yeah.
buck.
So lots of fiber to shop for in all of our venues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. So good. Any final words on the subject of fiber?
Well, it's important to get fiber in your diet, and there's a lot of opportunities for that here at Green Spring. Either buying products in the convenience store to keep in your apartment that are high in fiber, making the prune whip here, or choosing high fiber options in the dining. And it's important to increase your fluid intake with like water.
There's a very
or
good
tea.
point.
Yes.
It's not just about what we eat, it's about what we drink.
But what you drink as well.
Yes. Adding water to our diet, especially in the wintertime. We think, oh, coffee, tea, we want hot drinks, but water is just plain water is still really important.
Just plain water is still very important.
Right.
Or you can have a decaffeinated tea, can be really good, especially in the winter when you just want something a little warmer. You can just heat it up a little.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, and the water is important with the fiber because the fiber adds a lot of roughage, and like I mentioned, that soluble fiber takes away some of the water too.
Yes.
So you need to be drinking a little more as you add some fiber into the diet.
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
And we do want to encourage you to, whatever you eat, read these nutrition labels.
Yes.
Our dietitian, Mary Smith, has been talking to us on various programs about the importance of reading that nutrition label, and that makes a huge difference.
Right.
Yes.
Because sometimes we think, oh, we're eating well, and we go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how many carbohydrates, not just the carbohydrates, but the calorie count that goes with it.
Right. And another thing to note is it's important to read the ingredients as well. Because these are carbohydrates, it's difficult to tell what's a naturally occurring sugar. Like prune juice is high in sugar, but that's just because prunes have a lot of sugar. But if you read the label, you can look for artificial sweetenings or added sugars.
Yes.
And those are important to minimize.
Yes.
Versus things that just naturally have sugar in them.
Yes, right. You were telling me before we came on camera here that you both recently went to a food and nutrition conference.
Yes.
Tell
Yes,
us
we
what
did.
the newest information was that you learned
About fiber?
about anything.
About anything.
Okay. So as we mentioned, there was a lot of new research coming out about gut health and keeping your GI tract healthy. So we did actually learn a lot about that. Just staying on top of research is really important in our field.
Sure.
So it was really great to learn. There were topics about everything, from infant nutrition to the science of dieting and intermittent fasting, and there was a lot of information, and it was really great.
How about you, Emma? What's the most interesting
Yes.
thing you learned?
So I went to a lot of topics about gut health because I have a few.
I'm seeing a list here.
Yeah.
Here are all the seminars you can go to. Gut health.
Gut health.
What's new?
Yes. There's a lot of different topics about the way your GI tract and the way you take care of your gastrointestinal system affects different things. It can affect not only chronic diseases or bowel health like we've been talking about, but there's new research coming out about how fiber intake and taking care of your GI system affects your mood and different mood disorders or seasonal affective disorder, people who get a little down and out when
This
the
time
weather
of
gets
year.
this time of year, yeah. Increasing fiber, helping keep your GI tract healthy can also help your mood.
Keeps your mood up.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
There's one thing that's not one thing, one of the most important things about your field is that it will change over the
Yes.
years in your career.
Absolutely.
It's just, it changes all the time.
It's always evolving. That's why it's so important to stay on
Yes.
top of the
It's-
research.
It's not as if you will graduate from college and that's it. You'll never go to
Yes.
school again.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to keep up with all the research.
Yeah, that's also what's so great about it, because it's constantly
Yes.
challenging you to learn more and
Right.
better yourself, and
Yes.
so you know you're making the best recommendations
Right.
for your clients.
So I'll ask you one last question. And you said hopefully you'll be back here in the spring.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you again. But you've tried out many different places where you can practice being a dietitian. What's your favorite so far?
So I have a lot of favorites, and we actually talk about this a lot. It's hard to pinpoint one. I know that I really like the prenatal and infant population, so that's something that in the future I'll definitely consider. So I don't know what exactly type of setting that will look like, but that's the population I like right
How
now.
about you, Emma?
Like I've talked to Kate about, we've been a lot of places and I've liked them all. I'm very interested in working with cancer patients in the oncology population.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's something I might look into in the future, but I would be happy no matter where I end up.
Well, that's good. Well, we hope you'll consider their geriatric population
Oh,
too, because
always.
we need you
Absolutely.
badly. Okay. We thank you for joining us today. Thanks for sharing your recipe, and we hope lots of our residents will try it out.
Sure, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.